What's good, Bluff Squad? It's your boy Sean P. the Bluff Guy. Hey! And we are back with another reaction. Today, we got a special reaction. This is from somebody who's been loyal and following the chat of this channel for a while. One of the members, Kube, he has collaborated with Kushi, and they're going to tell us how they discovered the location of God Valley, I guess. The title of today's video is from the channel of Kushi, but the theory is made by Cube, and the title is "The Battle of Gods is Here." Now, before we get into that, make sure you guys hit that like button. Also, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Comment down below your thoughts on the theory. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Let me know down in the comments. Also, follow me on Twitch so you can catch me live and you can engage with me in real time. If you want to reach me directly, make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And join the Discord. That's going to be the best place to reach out to me because that's usually where I'm the most engaging at. So all of these will be in the description box, as well as the link to the video we will be reacting to today. All right, so y'all know it. You know what time it is. We are doing this reaction from one of the members of the channel, Cube, but the channel he posted this theory is from Kushi's channel. So yeah. Location of God Valley. The location of God Valley. Now, I don't really have much. I have zero speculation of where God Valley could be. I don't know how I don't know how you come to that conclusion with God Valley, because we didn't get much when it comes to God Valley. We didn't get much from it. Like, we didn't get much information about God Valley. We just know it existed. It has something to do with the Rocks Pirates, and it disappeared from the map, right? It disappeared from the map. I think there's speculations on, like, God Valley pertaining to maybe Lunarians. Like, I've heard some theories about it being connected with the Lunarians. Maybe the Lunarians lived there at one point. I don't know, right? I don't know. I've heard speculation on how it disappeared. I think one of the speculations is the yami yami fruit. It pretty much absorbed it, or sucked it into the darkness with the yami yami fruit. Or I think I've heard Shiki's devil fruit as well. Like, Shiki used it to levitate it to where it disappeared. It's somewhere, maybe in space, maybe in the sky. I don't know. Maybe it turned to a sky island from what Shiki did. If Shiki, of course, did it. I don't know if that's the case, but I think Shiki has an ability that can justify, that I think with his ability it is justified to speculate Shiki, because he can, he touches something and it levitates. If I remember, that's how his ability worked correctly, right? So if that's the case, maybe Shiki made it disappear, or the Yami Yami, whoever had the Yami Yami at the time, and maybe it was Zebek, maybe somebody else, I don't know. But they could have also absorbed the island. So I think those are the two. Biggest possibility. If we're talking location wise, a good one of the best speculations I could come up with, like, especially off the fly, of where it could have been, maybe in this lobby. It sank. It was like because we never got an explanation of where that hole came from when it comes to Ennis Lobby. I've covered a theory from Dawn of the World, right? And it was like the whole Pluton theory, the Pluton being like something that digs. I'm not talking about Dak Saki. I know he has that theory as well, but around the same time, she also released a theory talking about how Pluton is something that digs as well, right? But according to her theory, it was created at Water 7, but like we know it's at Wano right now, right? So it was created at Water 7, and it where we see Enies Lobby as we know it, it digged through Enies Lobby and eventually digged all the way through the earth and landed at Wano. You know, that's kind of me paraphrasing and oversimplifying her theory in a nutshell, right? So that hole was created from Pluton based on that theory. But you know, who's to say a certain island wasn't there and it wasn't sank beneath the ocean, right? The certain island I'm speaking of is God Valley, of course. But yeah, like who's to say that couldn't be a possibility as well? Like, I don't know if that's what Kube and Din speculated, but you know, that's just a possibility I want to throw out there. You know, the location of God Valley isn't necessarily one of them things I've necessarily thought about enough to come up with my own theories. So let's hear what Kube and Din Kushi has to say. Let's go.
Flashback took place, would you say Marineford? That seems to be the general consensus, yet it doesn't actually state it's called Marineford inside the story. How is that possible? Well, because it wasn't Marineford at the time. Is this how God Valley disappeared off every map in the world? Let's find out. This Den production was brought to you by Kube of the Red Sea. Keep an eye out for further theories.
Den Productions. I like it. I like it. Kube of the Red Sea. I like Zebek DQ better, man. I like Zebek DQ or maybe Marshall DQ, one of those. I like those better. You know, Q of the Red Sea is just, you know, I don't know if it rolls off the tongue as fluidly as Zebek DQ. You know, that's kind of long as well.
Series from him on this channel. 38 years before the present day, on an island called God Valley, something called the God Valley Incident occurred. Current Marine Vice Admiral Monkey D. Garp had to make a temporary alliance with Gold D. Roger, captain of the Roger Pirates, in order to stop Zebek, and with his success was dubbed Hero of the Marines. Roger, Silvers Rayleigh and Scopper Gaban found a baby Shanks in a treasure chest and took them in. The island, which is characterized by tall cliffs and canyons, is said to have disappeared off all maps. However, we're going to attempt to definitively solve the mystery of where God Valley is and explain how everything ties together.
Hold on, I kind of missed
something
that.
called the God.
What did he say about Baby Shanks and Buggy? Let me go back.
Valley Incident occurred. Current Marine Vice Admiral Monkey D. Garp had to make a temporary alliance with Gold D. Roger, captain of the Roger Pirates, in order to stop Zebek, and with his success was dubbed Hero of the Marines. Roger, Silvers Rayleigh and Scopper Gaban found a baby Shanks in a treasure chest and took them in. The island, which is characterized...
Did that really happen? Was that a real panel? I don't remember.
And found a baby Shanks in a treasure chest.
Am I tripping? This ain't real. This ain't real. I don't remember seeing this. A baby Shanks in a treasure chest. That's wild.
And took them in. The island, which is characterized by tall cliffs and canyons, is said to have disappeared off all maps. However, we're going to attempt to definitively solve the mystery of where God Valley is and explain how everything ties together. The key to the location of God Valley lies in its name. The definition of the word valley is a low area of land between hills or mountains, typically with a river or stream flowing through it. This perfectly describes the only picture of God Valley we've seen. The word valley originates from Nordic myth, something we know Oda has tied to the story many times before. Now, when we look at what the word originally was, we discover something very interesting. It's a ford, again describing a deep, narrow and elongated sea or lake with steep land on three sides. If you watch someone say ford...
what was he defining ford for? I'm just a little lost, y'all. I'm just a little lost.
We discover something very interesting. It's a ford, again describing a deep,
ford.
narrow and elongated sea or lake.
So Ford. I'm assuming you getting a Ford from Marine Ford, and you're saying Marine Ford is a long, deep, narrow body of water that reaches is kind of like a valley, right? Kind of like a valley. So if my intuition is right, right? If my intuition is telling me that the where this speculation is going is that God Valley is currently Marine Ford. So it didn't necessarily. So that would mean it didn't necessarily disappear. I mean, God Valley, as it was known, disappeared, but it changed to Marine Ford, which the island itself didn't necessarily disappear. It's just what was known as God Valley disappeared because it transitioned into something else. That's what I'm assuming. That's where I'm assuming this theory is going. But let's see what they got to say. Cube says Zebek D Cube is a name that would get me erased from history. What about Marshall D Cube? Man, ain't nobody erasing that from history. So he said it's from Data Book Volume 4 billion. The whole Shanks thing. I gotta find that. I never send. Can you send me the link? Send me the link, man, or send me a link with something because I haven't seen that. I never heard anything about this Shanks being found in a treasure chest at God Valley.
With steep land on 3 sides. If you watch someone say Ford on TV, sometimes the subtitles will use the same spelling, by which I mean Fjord. The opening towards the sea is called the mouth of the Ford and is often...
I mean, the only time I heard somebody use Ford on TV was like Ford trucks and Ford vehicles and stuff, like the vehicle brand, like the auto brand Ford, but they spell Ford. There's no J in that, so it is what it is.
Shallow, and the Ford's inner part is called the sea bottom. The English version of the word is also Ford. The definition of the word, however, is warped over time. A ford is a shallow place in a river or a stream allowing one to walk or drive across. Where can we find the word Ford in One Piece? Well, Marine Ford. Okay, but what about the word God? Do we have any connections to God and Marine Ford as well, so we can tie them together? Well, for starters, Kuma was there and he held a Bible. Luffy falls from the sky to join the fight, a reference from descending from the heavens. Additionally, in 866, which just so happens to be called Natural Born Destroyer, a title that could tie to Zebek's actions at God Valley, we see a flashback set 100 years ago. If you ask someone where this scene is set, they'll tell you Marine Ford, despite the fact we get that impression from the surroundings alone. Interesting.
What, that scene with the Giants getting executed? And then Mother Caramel saving them? I don't think that is at Marine Ford. I think that's like at Elbath or something. Like this scene right here in the middle where these Giants were about to get executed. Cause it looked like hold on, maybe those buildings. I'm trying to look at those buildings in the background, cause I'm trying to remember how the Marine Ford buildings look. I would have to search it up, cause I know there were like some like houses, some buildings in Marine Ford, like outside of just the main government headquarters. There were like some other buildings, like there could have been houses. So them houses in the back, maybe these are the same houses. I don't know, but I kind of thought that execution was going to happen at like Elbath. I thought they just captured the Giants and then we're going to execute them. But I don't know. I don't remember. I had to look. But yeah, I didn't think that was Marine Ford though.
Where this scene is set, they'll tell you Marineford, despite the fact we get that impression from the surroundings alone. Interestingly, it's never actually explicitly stated to be Marineford. This could be a big clue that at the time Marineford was going by a different name. When the remnants of the giant warrior pirates that disbanded after Dory and Broggy's quarrel were captured and brought to Marineford to be executed at the Horus Plaza, we saw Sister Carmel trick the giants into bringing her to Elbath. Sister Carmel herself was a nun and also known as the Holy Mother. She discussed a message from the heavens. And
my question was she really a nun though? Like, was she like a legitimate nun? Yeah, she had this facade like she was a nun. Yeah, well, she had a whole get up and everything. She sold herself to be a nun. People believe she was a nun, but was she really a nun? She seemed a little too evil to be a nun, bro. I'm just saying, she wasn't necessarily a righteous individual. You know, she wasn't righteous at all. So I question if she was really a nun or if it was just a facade, because she couldn't have been a nun. You know, she had the ability though, like she had those devil fruit abilities, so it kind of helps sell the image of her being a nun. But you know, I think it might have been a facade. I will say that.
the holy light fell on Carmel as stated by the manga. So there's some pretty direct ties there to God. And there's some other ties to the word God involving the characters that were at the Summit War. This all ties to Inherited Will and the general way Oda has historical events in the One Piece story reenact themselves. For example, with Wano, when we look at the characters that were present at both incidents, we find a load of spicy connections, basically. At the Summit War, we had Whitebeard, Garp, Shanks, Roger's son, Roger's inheritor. Sebek could be argued to be represented by Blackbeard. And finally, we know Kaido is supposed to be there too. Some of these characters appear in the...
My question, though, right? If Marineford is God Valley, or if Marineford is... if Marineford is what God Valley was, right? What would Whitebeard have said something about it? Possibly Whitebeard, maybe Shanks, or maybe not Shanks. Shanks was a baby, or he was too young to remember. But wouldn't Whitebeard have said something about it, possibly, or I'm trying to think who else, like. I would think Whitebeard would have said something. Or maybe even Kaido or Big Mom would have like talked about Marineford in some type of reminiscent way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think Whitebeard would have said something like implying that he's been to Marineford before, or at least that specific island, maybe. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's you know, Oda didn't want to give us the sauce too quick, so I get it.
And the four posters, Emu.
And Garp. Sengoku as well. Like Garp, would Garp have implied it? Maybe Sengoku implied it. You know, they were... Well, Sengoku wasn't on God Valley, but Garp was.
Held, and I've speculated before in previous videos that them posters tie into old gods and wills that might have been since inherited. So it does seem that there were sort of godlike characters at Marineford. Obviously Luffy stands out as one, but not just that, it's like another version of the original God Valley. Like all the wills have been inherited, and this is like God Valley Part 2 almost. Because of this, I mean, like, because the fact it's a run back of God Valley, it could be that at God Valley there was somebody in at risk of execution. You know, I've spoke before about like Blackbeard might have been around God Valley or something, which drew Sebek there, or Sebek might have gone there to free someone or something. So it's interesting. Something else that's interesting is if you look at the way Whitebeard arrived at the Summit War, it appears that he knows the landscape already, which is interesting because obviously he's been...
Good point, Den. Good point. Because it low-key speaks to what I just said about Whitebeard being familiar with the island, right? Like Whitebeard, like sure he didn't explicitly state that he, you know, been to this island before, or he didn't reminisce about it, but if if he like knew the land already and he acted like that, it's kind of a good point. Like when he arrived, it's almost as if he was familiar with the terrain already, and given the fact that he was already at God Valley, if Marineford is indeed God Valley, then it makes sense that he would know the terrain. Tori says, "All right, okay. What are we watching today, Bluff?" What Cube just said, his theory. He has a theory about knowing the location of God Valley, and based on where we're at in the video, God Valley is current Marineford, or Marineford back in the before it moved to Mary Joa, like the old Marineford, where Ace got executed. That's where God Valley was, according to Cube. Tori says, "Oh, dude, glad to be here extra hard." Let's continue.
God Valley already, so he might understand the layout and how to like pop up from under the water like we saw. Furthermore, if Marineford was in fact God Valley, it would explain why there were celestial dragons there and why Rox mentioned wanting to be on top of the world. So yeah, there's some interesting ties there as well. The much anticipated God Valley Round 2 battle has got fans speculating Garp and Blackbeard will soon collide on Hachinosu. There are some pretty major hints pointing to such a battle too. So for example, the God Valley incident is where Garp's nickname Hero of the Marines is from, which reflects the currently captured Kube, who's aptly nicknamed the Hero of Rocky Port. We also saw that Vivi has been captured, so if for whatever reason her and Kube were taken to the same place, then
bro, we gotta get like something. We gotta get something about that Rocky Port incident, you know, because I want to see Kube, man. I want to see some Kube stuff and I want to see some Kube greatness, man. I want to see some Kube greatness. So I would love to see the whole Rocky Port thing that boosted Kobe's reputation and his name. So I hope Oda give us something on that, because you know Kube, I've always emphasized the importance of Kobe's character, and I've constantly said that Kube is pretty much going to be like, if Luffy is the modern Goldie Roger, like if he is the guy who is carrying the will of Goldie Roger, and he is like the mirror of Goldie Roger, I kind of look at Kube in the same light as Garp, even though Garp is still alive, so it's, you know, he's not carrying Garp's will or anything, but his relationship with Luffy, right? How Garp and Roger have this taboo pirate marine friendship, right? And Roger even trusted Garp enough to entrust Garp into raising Ace. If Luffy was to trust any Marine enough to entrust them with his child, I would say Kube is the front runner to that. I know a lot of people would make the case for Smoker, but I like Kube better because Kube was literally the first friend that Luffy made in the series. Like, not like take away the flashback when Luffy was a child, but like real time where Luffy, you know, like Luffy's age when the series started, like in that real time when he started his adventure. Kube was the first one we see Luffy meet and make as a friend in the present time, right? So that speaks a lot for something. Also, Luffy influenced Kube to become a Marine. Kube was also trained by Garp himself. If I can't get the Garp and Kube, if I can't drive that comparison like enough, Garp trained Kube himself. So I'm just saying. That's what I believe.
and we might actually see Luffy and the Marines team up, similar to the God Valley incident. We can find clues in the landscape too. Except for Wano-like pillars in the corner, Marineford is composed completely out of bricks and steel, suggesting almost all the natural features that were native to the island have gone. Throughout the Summit War, we are shown many different images of Marineford, however, this one strikes me as particularly strange. Seems like quite an arbitrary panel, but on second glance you can see it seems to show a valley, with Marineford inside it. In addition to this, the crescent moon shape could be due to an explosion or some other damage that occurred during the God Valley incident. This is where it gets wild though.
You know something? I never really. I mean, I've seen it before, right? But I never really noticed how Marineford is like the shape of a moon, like the crescent, like a crescent moon. You know, we talk about Lunarians, moon people. It's a lot of symbolism when it comes to the moon in One Piece. You got like the Koski clan. They had those little moon tattoos. We talk about what's on the moon, even like Anel's up there, like discovering stuff as well. I mean, we also talk about the sun as well, but it's just a lot of symbolism when it comes to celestial bodies such as the planets, the moon, the sun. It's a lot of that in One Piece, and it's just a good thing to see zoomed out view, like a zoomed out overview of Marineford, just to see how much it resembles a moon.
Though. Firstly, during the war, Sengoku appears relatively calm throughout about what's happening there, and he doesn't really mind people fighting people, but as soon as Blackbeard threatens to destroy the island itself, Sengoku freaks out and rocks up as a golden Buddha and starts trying to smash stuff up and prevent it from happening. He says a couple other things that are kind of red flags as well. The strangest probably is, you don't know what you're doing. He says that to Blackbeard when Blackbeard starts breaking the island, so yeah, it's very sus. Yeah, and when you mix it with these facial expression and reactions and stuff, it's looking sus, basically. The other example that's interesting is Akainu. When he gets hit by Whitebeard into the ground, he basically uses his magma fist to punch a hole in the underground, and it reveals like a tunnel. It's not like a big reveal, but it opens up to a tunnel, and Akainu just starts walking through it, which is kind of strange. It's never touched on again. This suggests there is something below Marineford itself, which is likely to be the ruins of God Valley, similar to what we've seen in Wano, Alabasta, Water 7, so a place that's built on top of another place. Furthermore, we see the ever-growing theme of a dark, clouded sky being present in both Marineford and God Valley as well, which might even tie into preventing the Sun God's light from having more power, but that's a theory.
I'm trying to see if there's like a resemblance, you know. I guess if you destroy those little mountain things on God Valley, right, you could put that little Marineford castle there. You know, I'm trying to see the resemblance of them, you know. It's hard to tell because, you know, this one has those little canyon things, not canyons, but those mountains, those elevated bodies of earth, right? And then God Valley, of course, has, or Marineford has the castle, right? But it also has these 4 pillars as well. And those 4 pillars look like they're just like natural, just pillars. And I don't see them on God Valley. You know, I don't see nothing that would look, unless those were like built somehow, but those look like just rock formations. Like if you look at the 4 corners of God Valley, it's those little rock formations, and then they have like the little light towers on top of them. You know, those look like just normal bodies of rock, right? Of earth. And they look like they probably were just naturally there. But when you look at God Valley, I mean, if maybe Marineford is up much, like we're up closer to Marineford than we are God Valley. So if you was to look at God Valley at the same distance that we see Marineford, maybe you'll see those rock formations, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. But it don't look like they're there though. Don't look like they're there. Now I guess you could argue maybe the landscape kind of changed. Like maybe somebody had a devil fruit similar to Pika, and they kind of changed the geology of God Valley to make it look more like what we see present Marineford. But I don't know if I'm seeing it. I'm just saying I don't know if I'm seeing it.
Theory with many more examples that I'll touch on in a later video. It's a bit of a stretch, but we also heard the families lived on Marineford, which makes me think potentially it could have been similar for the Celestial Dragons at God Valley. We know they had slaves there and they resided on there, so it's possible. Another connection between the two is slavery. We were told Celestial Dragons were present at God Valley during the mysterious incident, and Marineford just so happens to have ties also. If you look at the triangle made by Enni's Lobby, Impel Down and Marineford, it mirrors the triangular trade route of the 6th century. In real life, this was a trade route used by the slaving industry, and the Tariah current, which controls the water inside the Gates of Justice, is inspired by the trade wind, which enabled the ships to travel faster when traveling within the triangle in real life. Furthermore, we have the Ox Lord.
Speaking of that triangle that shares Marineford, Impel Down, and in his lobby that you're talking about, maybe y'all might have to look into in his lobby. Like, we gotta start having some discussions about that big ass freaking hole in the middle of the ocean at Ennis Lobby. Like, where did that come from? Like, we gotta talk about that, because I got a few theories. They all kind of contradict each other, so I don't really know which one I like the most. You know, one being the dawn of the world, that theory where she says Pluton was built on Water 7, but it dug through where Ennis Lobby is today, and then it went to Wano. The idea that the laugh tail might be at the bottom of that waterfall, you know, that's another one. That's one that I heard like a long time ago. That I think Arthur, either O'Hara or either the Library of O'Hara of like Arthur, the Library of O'Hara, or O'Hara, two different YouTubers. One of them came out with that theory that it's at the bottom of Ennis Lobby, Laugh Tale. I like that because it shows why Laugh Tale is so hard to find and get to. Because who's going to want to go down that waterfall to go see if Laugh Tale is down there? You know what I'm saying? It makes it to where nobody could accidentally see it unless they accidentally fell down that waterfall, but they'll most likely die. So yeah, those two theories I heard about in this lobby. But what about the possibility that God Valley was there and that's where it sank, you know?
Bell, or as it's more commonly referred to, the Ox Bell. This was found on Marineford and was used to ring farewell to the passing year as well as welcome in the new year, and is heavily inspired by the real-life Lutein Bell. But how does this tie into slavery? Well, here's an open statement at the top of their webpage. I don't need to explain that these guys have a bad rep, to say the least, for working within the slave industry, so you can see what I'm saying there and what Oda's done. Marineford was the base of operations for Marine headquarters and is where former Fleet Admiral Sengoku and the admirals resided, along with many vice admirals and lower officers. It is situated near the Saba-Odi archipelago and laid directly next to Marijua on the Red Line. So in conclusion, we think that during the God Valley incident, the island was leveled, and in its rubble, the world government's Marineford was built. All that's left of God Valley are the 4 pillars on the corner of the islands, and even its name was changed, ensuring that the name God Valley would no longer appear on maps. This secret is likely known by a handful of people in the story, and as previously suggested, no doubt Sengoku. This happened during the Summit War, in which we saw Whitebeard Garp and a load of others, and let me make it clear as well, I don't think this is the final part of God Valley. I think, we do have another God Valley coming with, what we are seeing with Blackbeard, and I will go into that at the time. It's just a lot of people are going to be making stuff about that, so I'll just let it simmer for a bit. Here's some shout outs on creators we support and who have done videos on the topic recently. We have Threeville, Zakio1, who's just released a banger, and Parvision, who released a video recently on the subject. So yeah, guys, always a pleasure. Huge love to anyone who made it this far. You've just won some free Black Blades, so just let me know which one you want.
Damn, man, I want to shout out. I'm joking. I'm gonna give the video some love. Make sure y'all go support Kube's theory. Go support Dinda and Kushi for, bringing Kube's theory to life. It's all good. Two great friends of the channel and great supporters. So y'all make sure y'all go support them. That is definitely important to me as well. All right, so Marineford. That's a lot to grasp. I think it's possible. We don't really have enough information on God Valley. Like I can't really dispute it. I think at this point there's so many possibilities of where God Valley is or what happened to God Valley, right? I think it makes sense for it instead of disappear, because they said it disappeared, but it makes sense for them to just go with the fact that it disappeared, because then it like motivates people not to go looking for it, right? It motivates or it gets people not to go look for it because it doesn't exist. Like common knowledge, like to the people who are aware of God Valley, the existence of God Valley at one point, it kind of it motivates them or influences them to not look for it, because if it's disappeared, then they won't know, right? But if, let's say, the Marines just took over the island of God Valley and just changed it to something else, then that's something people wouldn't know unless people been to God Valley. Guys like Whitebeard, Kaido, Big Mom, Zebek, the Zebek crew, and Garp, some Marines as well. So they're the only ones who know that. They're the only ones who would know that Marineford was God Valley. So they're the ones that kind of keep that knowledge alive if this is the case. And I think one of the best, I guess, pieces of evidence that Den and Kushi and Kube came up with was the idea that Whitebeard already knew the terrain when he showed up at Marineford. Because when he popped up out the ocean and you had like one ship face this way and then the other two ships face like the other ways, right? It's like they kind of knew. It's kind of like Whitebeard already had that knowledge of what to expect. So yes, that is a little, unless they just say, you know what, there's this, like, let's say they're in the ocean and they're looking up and they're like, okay, we see this big circle, so how about we all face different ways? That's a possibility as well. My biggest pushback though on this theory, is we seen the silhouette of God Valley, right? We seen the silhouette. It's real mysterious. You don't see it clearly. And then we also see Marineford. When we get that zoomed out view of Marineford when Whitebeard is doing his ability and the oceans are going all crazy. One thing I noticed is Marineford has these 4 like rock formation pillar looking things. You're like in the corners, right? They're at each corner of the island. And when you look at the silhouette of God Valley, there doesn't seem like any rock formations that match those pillars. Now, I guess you could make the argument that God Valley is like zoomed out way far, so what we seen is just a super far image, and seeing how tall God Valley is, maybe those rock formations, like that mountain looking thing, maybe it stacks up like way higher than the castle of Marineford. So when you get closer to it, it's super high, and then you will see those 4 pillars on the side of the island. And maybe when they created Marineford, they, got rid of that big old rock formation, that mountain in the middle of God Valley, and those pillars were still there. That could be the case as well. I don't want to eliminate that possibility. But it's just something I kind of noticed, and that's kind of been like, I don't know, they don't really geographically look similar. You know what I mean? I will also look at the possibility of Ennis Lobby being where God Valley was, because we gotta find out what that hole is in the middle of Ennis Lobby, because that, bro, it's like a big ass. Like, where's that water going? Right? Where is that water going? And how is water how is the ocean not getting drained, or how's that hole not being filled up? It's like, I would think with water constantly going down that hole, it would eventually fill up. But, I don't know. But I want to throw that out there with Ennis Lobby. Yeah, but that's all I really got for the video. You guys let me know your thoughts. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Also subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. Comment down below your thoughts on the theory. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? What did I miss? What do you agree with me with? What do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments. Also, make sure you guys follow me on Twitch so you can get at me. You could get at me in real time. You could let me know what I got right and wrong in real time. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook if you want to get at me directly. And join the Discord. That's going to be the best place to engage with me. That's where I'm the most active at. If you want to send me content to react to, I have a submission channel in the Discord. If you want to be part of a future discussion stream, make sure you are a part of the Discord. And all of these will be in the description box below, as well as the link to the video we just reacted to. Anyway, y'all, it's your boy Sean P, the Bluff God, and I'm out of here. Y'all have a good one. Peace.